Konnichiwa! It is I, Trunks is Still, and today we're going to be talking about Ultron. So, I'm not going to make the claim that I'm some kind of competitive master or anything. I'm definitely not all that knowledgeable when it comes to the character of Ultron lore-wise, but I would like to discuss the character of Ultron as he currently is in Marvel Rivals. I think Ultron has a problem in this game, truthfully. He's either balanced in a manner where it's he's overwhelmingly powerful or too weak to be considered a serious pick on a team. I think this is because of the way his kit is designed inherently, but I mean, you could argue that he was created to be more of a strategist that just needs two other strategists working with him. But I feel like that expands on an overarching discussion about like role queues and role locks, so we'll just run with the idea that he's often not a reliable strategist pick. So when people see strategists, I think a lot of people typically think of them just being healers simply. Ultron doesn't necessarily fit the stereotypical healer personality because he's mainly about domination and destruction. But if there's one thing interpretations have shown me about his character, it's all for the peace and betterment he is trying to enact on the world.
I am trying to help you. My function is to instill peace and order. This is only possible if you stop functioning. I must eliminate chaos.
There are worlds beyond my own. Worlds that need me. I'm going to bring about peace in our time to every corner of the universe.
I show these clips because I believe there to be some logic in making Ultron a strategist ultimately over a duelist. He may not be healing people, but he's trying to help in his own way through destruction, and I can respect that, honestly. I believe this philosophy that he has carries over within his kit in the game, which we'll discuss briefly, some point in this video. Well, yes, their role in the team is essentially to heal as a strategist. It's also to support and utility. The roster of Marvel Rivals already has a few examples of this in a lot of their strategists. But I'll highlight Mantis and Gambit in particular because I believe them to be some of the better examples for interactive gameplay. To keep things brief, I'm going to spark note these joints. Hopefully I don't forget anything important. Okay, I promise. I'm going to try to go really fast with this because I am fully aware that they're not the main point of this video. Anyways, Mantis. Her gameplay essentially revolves around her utilizing these little flower charges to either heal up your enemies or to buff them up, dealing extra damage. You can get more of these charges as you hit critical hits through headshots. On top of this, she also has the utility to cause an enemy to go to sleep, leaving them stunned mid-action. This is pretty good if they're trying to do an ultimate maybe, or they're really just trying to kill or dive you. So it's a really nice ability to just have off rip. Her ultimate is pretty generic. It's just a big old AoE healing thingy, but it keeps the teammates alive, and honestly, support ults are always going to be a good thing. It's just not necessarily the most creative thing. I personally find this kit to be one of the more fun to play with. Keeps me engaged, and I feel like I have to work on properly healing people and buffing my teammates, so it's a nice little balance that keeps you focused. Making sure I'm occasionally dealing damage because I can get additional charges with those headshots, and yeah. Alright, I think Gambit's kit, we can get really descriptive with it, but I'm going to try my best to just explain it pretty fast, as I did with Mantis. So Gambit utilizes his cards through his primary fire to either heal or deal damage. He has the ability to use heart cards or spade cards, with heart cards being referred to as healing cards. As they're active, he gains a healing boost, while the spade cards are active, he gains a damage boost. Within the heart card stance, he can bounce the cards, creating additional health output, or he can raise them, which can purify your teammates. For the spade cards, he can inflict reduced healing to the enemies, or just scatter them to deal some additional damage and knock them up, if I'm not mistaken. He has a charge ability, which is useful for getting into action or getting away, and he can smack his staff down, creating these AoE heals that can heal himself or damage those around him. His ultimate heals and purifies, grants damage buffs and mobility to his teammates. It's pretty freaking massive, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably the most busted thing about his kit. That's a whole different discussion, because we're not gonna get into that. Regardless, this is still one of my favorite kits. I just find it really engaging. There's a lot going on. He is quite literally a jack of all traits, but a master of all. There's a lot you can do depending on the situation. He holds the cards, quite literally. Anyways, let's talk about the man, or, well, I guess robot of the video. So Ultron, he can fly. That's pretty important. He now has 2 healing drones he can place on his teammates to heal them. His primary fire is a big beam that goes burr with damage. He has a movement ability that allows him to fly quicker. His right click is an ability that grants a speed and damage increase. And his ultimate summons Ultron bots around him with the fire beams and rays that exterminate his enemies, and he can also heal allies. That's pretty much everything. I'm not here to bash my boy's kit or anything. I think it's a cool kit. It's really fun, actually. Especially when you take into the account that he's a character that goes against the traditional strategists, probably. They would have had a much easier time making him a duelist, but in all honesty, he'd probably just turn out like an alternative Iron Man, and I mean, that's not really as fun. And honestly, I'd rather him be a strategist because of this. With that being said, however, Gambit is another example that fits this mold. I don't remember Gambit ever throwing any cards that healed people, or smacking that staff down to make people feel better. He blows stuff up.
We blow it up. Mud in your eyes, may subterranean prayer. Don't y'all leave now, the fun just started.
If I were to rework Ultron's kit a bit to make him feel both viable and fun, I would introduce a mechanic where he switches on primarily healing or inflicting damage. So the healing stance will function as Ultron's primary state of being because he's a strategist, whereas the damage priority stance will function as an ability with a cooldown. So he's still healing this world through some sense of destruction. In both states, he can keep the flight and he can have the movement ability. Ultron can also keep his primary fire, but let's reduce the damage that it deals. I think the ultimate is mostly fine. Maybe they could have his ultimate function as some kind of shockwave that disables abilities. Oh wait.
EMP activated.
Well, another idea I thought of would be to have it function more like you're healing and dealing damage through one continuous beam. Oh wait.
Surrender to my will. Allow me to repair the damage.
I fear I'm already overtuning this guy enough, so let's just keep his ultimate the same. The healing drones can stay, but maybe they can function differently. Like, give burst of healing rather than the passive heals, like when you just place it on a target. And have like a moderately long cooldown. Let's just say maybe like 8 seconds or so. Hopefully that's not too busted. The beam from Iron Man's team up can become a secondary fire that's permanent to the kit now instead. So you can have this beam function like a limited output where you can accelerate that said output if you deal more damage with your primary. So this encourages you to juggle both healing and dealing damage. For Ultron's damage priority stance, this can be up for, let's just go with 8 seconds. Seems to be a pretty safe number, hopefully. I kind of think of it like Emma's diamond form stance change here. With the option to cancel it, so you know, for whatever reason, maybe you might want to be in your like healing stance a little longer. Because this stance will be intended to serve as a defensive like stance to get diving characters or whoever else attacking you to back off. And while yes, I guess you could technically use that for offensive measures, but like there's nothing that really stops any character from doing that. You just might not be fulfilling your role for like the best intended purposes for certain time periods, if that makes sense. The primary fire will generally remain the same as it once was before the changes, when you're in the damage priority stance, so it gets a damage boost basically, but it will lose some of the range, and I think this kind of helps keep the Ultrons kind of like level builded, so they're not going off like the super offensive end and being super oppressive. The drone burst healing will remain on this side as well, so not just on the healing priority side, I'll also be on the damage priority side. But the secondary fire will be replaced with an ability to shoot a close range beam from his mouth. Hey, I've seen Ultron open his mouth a number of times and fire beams and crap. I think I've even seen it stun people. So you know what? Let's also add a stun to that for 2 seconds because I think it's lore accurate.
All our tanks out of control!
But he'll only be able to fire one of these during the stance's duration. Within the damage priority stance, Ultron will also gain a melee ability to slash his enemies, which can both inflict the enemies with the stats of reduced healing, and it can also heal teammates around Ultron. I think this would be a really cool addition because I see Ultron, he'd be like swinging this super cool halo sword looking blade within his body. Now, again, there's a lot I don't know about Ultron, but I've never really seen that happen all that much until he was added into Rivals. So maybe that's like a Rivals original thing, but either way, they should utilize that a little bit more. I think it's cool. Yes, I know he's a flying character, and that might make it a little harder to actually get some utilization from that, but I'm sure they could find a way, you know, just get those divers off of him. I also think this can serve as a way, like, to just encourage him to sit closer to his teammates instead of, I don't know, just scurrying off on his own. Regardless, I think there are many of ways a character like Ultron can be revisited. Personally, another idea I had was viewing him more of like a summer with Ultron bots, but something like that may be better for a character like Dr. Doom someday. I mean, maybe not. The Doom bots don't really have the best reputation, in all honesty. Anyways, that is my very rough proposal of a concept. I'm not a game developer by any means, but talking about this can be fun. This video serves mainly to acknowledge the state of Ultron's character and his kit within the game. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. I put a lot of effort into this one. Thank you again.
Try to stay alive just long enough to see my way as the Age of Ultron.